We've talked about the cover before, and now it is officially out. Today, Darth Vader number 13 just released, and even though I'm kind of sick, I did my best to bring it to you guys as fast as possible, so hope you guys enjoy, and if you want me to get better, then leave a thumbs up down below. That's the best I can ask, I guess. So, more than a week ago, we discussed the cover itself, and Darth Vader is going up against IG-88, so basically you know what you're expecting from this comic, and trust me guys, it is quite amazing when you stick around to the ending of the video and watch what exactly IG-88 had up his, well, mechanical sleeve. Let's start with the explanation page, which from all intents and purposes we know that this series still takes place within the War of the Bounty Hunter series. Darth Vader issue number 13, this one has the tagline Sound of Metal. As I suspected, this had most to do with Darth Vader rather than IG-88. It continues on by saying Darth Vader is restored. After Exegol, Vader begins to comprehend the full scope and might of the Emperor's powers. He must kneel before his master once more, but Darth Vader's son is a threat to his position. Luke Skywalker must die. Now Darth Vader and Ochi travel to Bokku the Hutt's lair to pick up Luke's trail, a trail that begins by finding Han Solo. Naturally, for those who follow this channel and read up on the comics, we last saw Darth Vader going to Bokku the Hutt's lair and Ochi Bestoon laying down an ultimatum, either cooperate with Vader or die. During those intense moments, Darth Vader recollects what Ben Kenobi told him in A New Hope. You can't win, Darth. If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you could possibly imagine. So many Jedi tricks, Vader said in his mind, but I see now, old man. You were talking about my son, your hope. Luke yelling out a scream as Ben Kenobi gets killed by Vader. Yes, Palpatine saying that Luke would be a great asset. Even recollecting his duel in Empire Strikes Back with his son, where Luke kind of injured him on his right shoulder before Vader gained the upper hand and actually cut off Luke's hand. I see everything now, says Vader. Ah, all your eyes turn from me to him. Vader recollects watching Sly Moore and Mas Amida revel at the chance that Vader will now be punished by Palpatine when Palpatine indeed did crush Vader to pieces and afterwards send him to Mustafar to survive. Vader will learn his place, as both the pawns of Palpatine reveled at the chance. But I endured the trial, says Vader, and now I am more powerful than you can possibly imagine. As the Gamorrean guards approach Vader, he ignites his lightsaber and slices everyone with ease. You see, Bokku, says Ochi Bestoon, if you won't deal with Lord Vader deals with you. The cowardly Hutt immediately bowed down to Vader. Ah, Lord Vader, says Bokku, apologies for not recognizing. Where is Solo, says Vader. I don't know. I already told Ochi Boba Fett lost him. So Jabba must be looking for him. Who's he put on the job, asks Ochi. Jabba leads the Hutt Council. You're asking me to betray my own people. But Ochi knows the dealings with the Hutts. Come on, young brood, says Ochi. You're supposed to be a gangster. Aren't you ready to stab that slug in the face and take over the council for yourself? Ah, well. Now Bokku understands fully. If he cooperates with Vader, then one day he might be the leader and the ruler of the Hutts. This was music to Bokku's ears. Jabba put out a bounty, says Bokku. We've been tracking the hunters who bit, most headed for Hutt's last known location, but a crew of droids took off in a different direction. Where? Says Vader. Oh, I'll tell you, but it's deep in the heart of Hutt space. If you show up in an Imperial shuttle, they will scatter like morts on a hot pan. But if we take my barge, Ochi laughs. Sounds like Bokku wants to deal after all. What's your will, my lord? These pages don't show it, but Vader reluctantly agreed, and still Bokku was trying to appease to Vader's mercy. Vader simply told him to be silent. You will be rewarded for your services. Thank you, Lord Vader, says Bokku, as now the Hutt barge is approaching the destination. Bokku does not waste time in asking Ochi Bestoon, can Vader be trusted? Even Ochi can't really answer that. But you're a Hutt, says Ochi. You should know how this works. There are no safe havens anywhere. We align ourselves with the biggest monster, and then once we get our chance, not knowing that Vader is completely over-listening to their conversation, they finally arrived at their destination. Once Vader approaches the nearby site, he gets into his Imperial shuttle and starts bombing everything until their systems start getting out of control all of a sudden without an explanation. And just as they were surprised, the Imperials go on to brace for impact as the shuttle crash lands completely, but the droid then explains to Bokku that as far as he can tell, a slicer just shut down their engines, which is baffling because Imperial shuttles are the most secure systems he knows of. Now the crime syndicate Crush starts shooting at Ochi of Bestoon and Darth Vader, who are stranded. Ochi even calls them losers for not being able to kill Vader when they had the chance on Mustafar. But with this crime syndicate was also one of the most notorious droid bounty hunters to have ever been presented in Star Wars, and we finally get reintroduced to IG-88, who is firing without mercy upon Ochi of Bestoon and Darth Vader. But even though he was firing as furiously as he could, Vader was withstanding everything he took from IG-88. He started telling Vader that Vader's recently suffered structural compromise. I am envisioning an enjoyable outcome to this encounter. Vader was sure of himself, though, that he could not be defeated by this droid. A statement of opinion, said IG-88, but as a matter of fact, your mechanics were wrecked by your own master, and I remain undamaged in this melee. Vader reiterated, you continue to function only because you have information I require. Lay down your weapons. As Vader started approaching IG-88 slowly, but he is not currently under Vader's employ, said IG-88, you will only access the information I possess by downloading it off my severed head. So be it, said Vader. As now he was firing even more intently at Vader, who was not fazed at all. Once he approached IG-88, he sliced one of his guns away, but at that moment the droid let out a device out of his hand, and as he pressed it, he gained access to Vader's mechanical right hand, and with a gripped lightsaber on it, the droid was now going for Vader's throat. Perhaps you recall my mentioning of an enjoyable outcome, says IG-88, and even Ochi of Bestoon is baffled. IG-88 continues, your master's mechanical parts are more sound than I had been led to expect, Ochi of Bestoon, but now I control them. As everybody behind IG-88 was looking on, Vader was just helpless. He could not control his own mechanical parts, and seemingly IG-88 was controlling everything. That's impossible, says the droid. Vader's armor should be even more impervious to slicing than that Imperial shuttle. For those who do not know what slicing means, in Star Wars, slicing is basically hacking. So IG-88 virtually had hacked into Vader's mechanical parts somehow, as we will learn later on. I propose a revised scenario, Lord Vader, says IG-88, as the lightsaber is getting closer and closer to Vader's throat, in which I will take your head. It seems that Vader was now hopeless. His own arm was hacked by a droid who was now going to kill him. Bokku does not waste a moment's chance to betray Vader. He orders the droid to take off with the barge, and ultimately, with Vader dead, they will bombard this whole place. The saber is inches from Vader's head. One last time, he asks the droid, who gave you the code to breach my armor? The terms of my employment prevent me from sharing that information, says IG-88. I can only say that as long as I hold this controller, but without even a warning, that controller gets lifted from IG-88's mechanical hand and straight into Vader's left hand, who controlled it with the Force. Once he grabbed it, he clicked and turned it off, and with seemingly no other option, IG-88 simply took his blaster and gave up, shot himself right on the head, making it seem impossible for his personality to be hacked and his memories to be hacked as well. With IG-88 being unsuccessful, Vader now went on to destroy everybody else, but Bokku was still adamant to bombard the entire place, wipe out everybody including Darth Vader. Now, what happens to Bokku? Well, I'll leave that for tomorrow's video because this one just became gigantic. It will be presumably more than 10 minutes, and that's way too much for you guys to handle. I'll split it in 2 parts, so stay tuned for tomorrow's video, which will finish off not only what Vader did to Bokku after this, but the revelation of who actually gave out all this information to IG-88, who is the true evil culprit behind all of this. But if you guys enjoyed this video, then leave a thumbs up down below, subscribe for dailies. Now you can have an awesome day, Star Wars fans. I'll see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you until then.